guys, welcome to episode 8 of Keeping Up with Conspicuous. Thank gosh Lucy is back with me today.
I know, I keep jetting off, don't I? I keep going to places.
I know. And we're going to be talking today about why you should work with a recruiter and how to get the most out of working with a recruiter.
Yeah, so over our time of being a recruiter, we've sort of jotted down main questions that we do get asked about why they should work with us and just common themes. So we're here to combat those questions and sort of tell you a little bit more about why you should work with us, really.
And like any issues or concerns you've had in the past while working with a recruiter, hopefully some of these points will counter those. Yeah, and it's a two-way thing. I think sometimes I say to candidates, it's helpful when you get asked questions and reminded about things. So
yeah, I mean, I guess recruiters do have, there's a bit of a stigma around them, isn't there? So it's more just sort of, as we said, alleviating your concerns, so you know exactly what we do and how we actually help, because that's what we're here for. So we've got our list of questions that we're just going to discuss and go through them. So let's start. I'm going to ask you the first question. So how should a candidate prepare before approaching a recruiter?
So do a bit of research onto the recruiter you're approaching. So not poaching, approaching. So for example, if you're looking to become a software developer with a particular type of technology or platform, you want to make sure that recruiter is posting adverts for jobs that are relevant to the thing you want to go, the job role you want to be in. Because if they're working in, I don't know, sales, they're not really going to be able to help you, so you're sort of wasting your time. So do research on the jobs they're advertising, the clients they're working with, the content they're posting on LinkedIn. Just make sure it's all super relevant.
Yeah. And then following on from that, what documents or information should a candidate have ready when they start the recruitment process?
So that depends. If you've applied for a specific role, any relevant questions to the job you've applied for, so maybe you've looked at a responsibility and you're unsure of what that means, get that ready to ask the recruiter. Otherwise, if you're just willy-nilly messaging a recruiter, which you'll probably be able to help me out here, is, I don't know, just ask about the market as well. Is it a good time to be looking?
Yeah, I would say other documents as well would definitely be, if you've spoken to previous recruiters or whether you've done the job search by yourself already, a list of the companies you have spoken to or been in contact with or sent to. That is a key documentation you should have to hand, because at the end of our calls we do then go on to discuss potential opportunities, and obviously if you don't know where you've been sent, that could cause issues later down the line with, double sending CVs,
Recruiters
etc.
shouldn't be receiving your CV and sending you out to multiple companies unless they've discussed each individual company name with you and you've agreed for your CV to be sent. Duplicating applications at companies, if it's an accident, doesn't matter. It doesn't help you, it hinders you if anything, because it's, without being blunt, it's unprofessional. It is, because,
And as we said about stigmas, one of the main things I get from candidates at the moment is, oh, I don't want to send you my CV. And I'd be like, right, okay, why is that? Oh, well, previous recruiters have just sent out my CV without even having a conversation. And that is a huge issue. Like that should not be a thing. I know recruiters that do that. We're lucky that in our company we don't. And one of the things I always say to people if I message them for a CV is I always say, your CV does not get sent anywhere until we've had an initial conversation and you have either verbally or written to me consent for us to send your CV. So,
and also for us, the CV is a basis for us to understand your experience of. It's not great, I've got permission. It's a basis of a discussion, and I think that is being lost. I think it's getting better.
I think it's
right. Lucy, your turn. Okay.
Yeah.
How do recruiters typically assess a candidate's skills, experience, or career goals?
Conversation. Open conversation. Some recruiters are very blunt with their questions and use quite closed questions. But if you're going to be a recruiter, understand open questions are the way forwards. You do not want to take lead of the conversation. You want your candidate to take lead of the conversation and give you as much information as possible. And if you're asking questions that just require a yes or no answer, you're not going to be able to assess what were the skills, experience and career goals.
Yeah.
They're all just from asking questions. So I will we sort of have a set load of questions we ask candidates. Obviously, it's not regimented, like, what's your name, you go with the flow of the conversation.
Yeah, if they bring something up, you follow on from that. Yeah.
And it's just, as we've always said, it should be like talking to a friend. Like, we want to know, if we don't have the information, how are we going to match you to the right job?
How are we going to help?
Like, we can't physically help, and, you know, you should be going into this conversation being quite willing to give those answers, because if you're not, it, as you said, it's going to hinder you later on down the line, because we won't find that perfect fit for you.
Yeah, and I guess a good recruiter will naturally see that you're a senior consultant, for example. Natural route of progression would be a management or solution architect role. Naturally, they should be asking you that question because they should know what they're doing. What's the importance of clear communication in terms of the type of job, salary expectations, or anything else?
All of that is just massively important, because I'm always someone, if I know that we've got a role and the salary, we've got a set budget, as soon as we ask for salary expectations, I will always ask someone for their expectations, because sometimes we know there can be a little bit of leeway. But I always think it's important then and there to set expectations about salary. At the end of the day, we're consultants. We should be consulting people on the market, matching up their and advising, like matching up your skills and experience. If you're someone with 1 year's experience as a functional consultant and you're looking for 60k, we should be telling you, look, to get to that level in this current market, you should be hitting so whatever it may be. So you actually do know, and we manage your expectations, because other recruiters don't do that. They want to get the send out to get the numbers. We're lucky here. We aren't KPI. Yeah, we aren't KPI driven. So as much as we want to get send outs and get good numbers, that isn't our priority at all, because if we're just sending you to places,
it's wasting our time,
and it's wasting your time. Like, we know that you wouldn't get a call up at 60k or whatever it may be, so we need to be clear at communicating that, and that's so important, because we don't want to waste anyone's time. We don't want you to have false hope as such. And
it will annoy our clients, so we're actually doing ourselves a disservice by sending people that aren't relevant or not quite hitting the mark. And
but I'd also say, in terms of like matching up with the job role and that being important, like the importance of that, this is why us at Conspicuous, we have such a good relationship with our clients, that one of my clients, they tell us the questions we should be sort of pre-screening you with, so that we are matching you to the job and that you have the correct skills to be able to apply.
Especially if it's a really senior or tricky job, because we're not perfect. We know the market, we work in very well, but some things, we don't know if the client wants something specific, so we only know that if they tell us.
Okay, next one for you. So, how can candidates establish a strong rapport with a recruiter? That's a good question.
So, ask questions, literally ask questions. So I have a work mobile, which also helps. So ask the question, when can you expect feedback? When can I expect to receive feedback from you? What sort of feedback do they give? What's the timeline on interviews, etc.? Asking these questions means the recruiter is more likely to remember, but also make more of an effort to give you more detailed feedback, because they're getting something back from you. It's a relationship. So, for example, if you are working with a client, if you have a really good relationship with that client, you're more likely to do a good job.
Yeah.
And that's not dissing recruiters, or like saying that we are horrible, that we pick and choose. I think that's natural.
Yeah. I think in life,
if you get something back from someone, you're more likely. Like, if Lucy wasn't very nice to me, I probably wouldn't be friends with her. No, I'm joking. But no, it's just, you get something back from someone, you're more motivated to do a good job and build that rapport in general. So going back to the work mobile phone, we both have work mobiles, means we can WhatsApp candidates. It's easier to communicate, and we can communicate whenever, wherever.
So trust obviously comes into this, but what role does trust play in this relationship between a recruiter and a candidate, and vice versa?
Allowing open and honest communication.
Yeah. That's so true. Perfect. Well, there we go.
Right.
That is that. Short and sweet.
Lucy Elliott. understanding the job market. How
Oh.
do recruiters stay updated on the current job market or industry trends they're working in?
So attending conferences is a major
Love that.
thing for us. Yeah, us attending these conferences and getting insights from people who are working amongst this environment or our niche as such is a huge factor. Also just talking to your candidates, asking them how they found their job search. You know, what barriers have they found, what trends have they found, because they're the ones searching for a job. They know they're in and amongst it once again, and we can extract that information. Talking to clients as well, being able to talk to our clients about the same sort of the same sort of questions, and finding out those answers. We can match that all up. But I think for us, it's doing our own research, but actually getting out to those conferences and talking at those, because without attending them, you wouldn't really know what's going on in the world of dynamics.
No, and it's just as simple as Googling the top. So, for example, we would Google Microsoft Dynamics 365 into Google, reading the top 5 news articles every week. It's literally that simple. Don't complicate it.
Yeah, you've got to educate yourself as a recruiter if you don't know your market. Off you go.
Okay, and what about, can you share some insights on how recruiters match candidates with appropriate job opportunities?
I guess that sort of ties into all of the questions above, so I'll keep it short and sweet, but it's about that conversation, that first initial conversation you have. If you don't ask the right questions, if the candidate isn't open with you, and you don't extract all the information possible to match it all together, at the end of the day, we're matchmakers. Like, as cheesy as it sounds, like, we are matching you to a potential job, and we've got to be able to find out that. So, without those conversations, trust, communication, open questions, you won't get anywhere.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, good.
Well, next one. So, what tips can you offer for candidates to optimise their resumes and online profiles? I guess we sort of touched base on this in a previous one, so we might have to keep this quite short. But just how to stand out to a recruiter. So we'll just reel off the main points from last time.
How to stand out as a recruiter. Make sure your CV is relevant for the job you're applying for. If you work with a technology such as SQL, don't just have it once on your CV. Make sure it's like SQL here, SQL there. Like, I'm amazing with SQL, I've done this with SQL, etc. Contact details on there, key achievements or awards, because that makes you stand out instantly. I'll keep it there for now because we did touch on this, but those are just like things I'm thinking of instantly.
Definitely. So, next one.
Negotiating offers. Okay.
Biggie, you all want to know.
We're in a tricky market this year, and with lots of counter offers last year and this year. This is super relevant.
Yeah.
Lucy's really good with this as well, I have to say. She's spot on.
Thanks.
So, thank God you're not asking me this one. What's the role of a recruiter within salary negotiations?
Salary negotiations shouldn't be too hard if you've done your due diligence throughout the whole process. At the end of the day, this is why that initial conversation is so important, because you should be finding out exactly what a candidate is willing to accept, what a livable wage is for them, managing their expectations so they know, one, whether there's leeway on a client's budget, because if there isn't, don't give them false expectations.
Yeah.
You need to say they can only go up to 75k, they're not going to stretch higher. So if you're not happy accepting 75k, unfortunately,
we shouldn't proceed.
We should not proceed. And as much as it sounds blunt, once again, it's just making sure no one wastes each other's time, and that's a big thing in this market. Also, salary negotiations, what we do, so obviously we should go into it knowing exactly what you're happy accepting on, what you wouldn't accept, and what
you're
would
interviewing elsewhere at as well.
100%. And when it comes to that point, technically we should always be able to get you what you want. However, we're there to negotiate, but we shouldn't really have to negotiate if we've got it right from the get-go. We should always check in with you every single point of contact we have with the candidate to check no expectations or anything you're thinking has changed, basically. So we should be in the know. And that's how we can manage our clients' expectations as well as candidates. But there are things that do get in the way, such as if a client's projects have sort of fallen through and they did have a bit of leeway in the budget, but because of these fallen projects they don't, there are hurdles, but just remember, we want to get you the salary that you want. Of course, if we can get you better, absolutely.
Yeah.
But in this current market, managing expectations, that's not really happening at the moment.
No.
We can get you what you want, but stretching a bit further is a bit difficult. So managing expectations really, and then negotiation doesn't really have to be hard.
No,
I
it is literally, rather than a negotiation, it is literally managing expectations on all three sides, recruiter, client, candidate, and just piecing it together with communication.
And I do think this sort of ties into the next question I just peeked down. But
I was going to say, I wasn't going to even ask you because you've answered it.
but I would say as a recruiter, you should always know the whole package. And one thing we always say to someone is, say if it's a little bit lower than another offer that they've had, but okay, I'm going to have to do a scenario.
Go on.
Candidate wanting 70k. They get two offers. One with you at 70k, which they're happy to accept. Another one at 72k. And they were like, oh, well, it's higher. I should be going for the higher one. No. Well, if you want to, then yes. But as a recruiter, this is the point that you should know your client. You should refer back to your initial conversation with a candidate. We're going to keep coming back to this.
Why are you looking to leave?
Why are you looking to
All of
leave?
that.
We need to re-highlight how our client fixes that issue for you. We need to know the package inside out. What benefits at the start of our conversation you said were essential to you? Does our client have that? Any bonuses on top of that? Travel, we should be looking at the whole picture for you in our negotiations, because at the end of the day, base pays aren't always exactly the end product.
No, because you could get a 2k higher salary, but you could be travelling twice as much, which means you're left with nothing. In the difference, I mean, sorry.
So,
Yeah.
I hope.
Yeah.
Hope
No, that was good. Right, we're going to try and power through these now so we don't keep you for too much longer.
This is quite a big one, I think. But how does the feedback loop work between a candidate and a recruiter after interviews or job placements?
So naturally our process, we don't, obviously I can't speak for all recruiters on this because processes do differ. We have a call with the candidate, we speak in detail about how they feel about the role, the company, how does it match expectations, initial discussions, as Lucy mentioned. Then we feed back to clients. If we can get on the phone with them, hear their feedback, then bridge it together. That's how we do it. So we're like third party. We bring everyone's feedback together and relay it. So we don't have to relay everything if you're honest with us, but we will be careful what we say and what we don't say. Yeah.
I think we should finish on this one because I think this could be quite good.
Okay.
So it's, what are some do's and don'ts for candidates in their interactions with recruiters? So one of my big don'ts is do not ignore our phone calls or texts.
Yeah.
If we call you and you were busy, or we text you and you were busy, have the decency as such to give us a call back. Or drop us a text.
Cracking the whip.
Yeah, it's just you wouldn't like it if it was the other way. You guys obviously want us to give you the feedback straight away when we get it, and we want to do that. And if we don't, obviously you don't like it. In our shoes, if we're trying to relay some information to you or we want to get hold of you, at the end of the day, we're trying to do you a service to help you. So we're only calling you or texting you to be able to give you some information to help you.
I think it's difficult for us as well because, putting it bluntly, if we can't get on the phone, if we aren't able to call you over a period of days because we're busy,
or on holiday,
it's not the end of the world because your job application isn't going anywhere. For us, if you ghost us, which I get so much, which is something I really struggle with as a recruiter, people just will use me and then just never contact me again, and it affects the relationship with our clients. So my client previously has got really annoyed at me because I had a candidate final interview, received an offer and just never came back to me. And what do I do there? So I think people, to talk about the stigma you mentioned, it is the other way around as well, and people don't realise that, but we sort of don't get, it doesn't get spoken about.
Because life gets in the way, don't get me wrong.
Oh,
you might be on holiday, you might have a family emergency, you might have this, but just let us know. Unfortunately, I can't reply to you. I'm looking to be able to reply to you on so-and-so day.
Yeah.
Just let us know.
Yeah.
So that would be my big do. What would be a big do? That sounds weird, doesn't it? A big do.
Just be super open and honest about what you want and what is important to you and your expectations.
Lovely. Well, I think we've sort of chewed everyone's ear off.
Yeah.
I think that's quite a passionate conversation for us, I think, because we don't want to have that stigma. We want candidates to understand that some of the struggles you guys face with recruiters, we struggle with you as candidates as well. It's a two-way process. It is like a relationship. I'll put it out there. It is.
I think me and Luce have always tried to be different. We're seeing more recruiters do the sort of same similar things as well, but we're in the 21st century. We've
stop being pushy.
Yeah,
have a conversation.
But I think we are lucky. Just also please do remember, some recruiters are really hounded with KPIs and targets. We aren't, so we could send out one CV a week or pull one job in a month, and our director is not going to sit down and fire us or make us work 10 extra hours a week. So we're super lucky that we can take the time to do stuff like this, and a lot of recruiters can't. So I know it's not ideal when
everyone's in different situations.
So yeah.
But I mean, we do aim to try and get more CVs.
And hopefully there was something useful out of that.
I hope so. But yeah, I mean, if you have any questions or you think there's any other things that didn't really get answered, because we could talk about this for hours, I'm sure.
We could.
Please drop us a message, a comment, or reach out to me entirely personally to ask us a question. We're happy to answer. But if not, I guess that's it from us, and we'll see you next Thursday for episode 9.
Oh
God. These weeks are fun.
I know. Well, thank you so much, guys. See you later.
See ya.
Bye.